Today I'm going to be showing you how to do a mixed fruit crumble using a standard recipe. Basic ingredients include plain flour, some nice brown, light brown soft sugar, lovely, full of calories, soft and gooey, love it. Some standard white granulated sugar, and your ever-loving slab of butter. Any kind will do. Any kind will do at all. And a bunch of fruit. Any fruit will do really, as long as it's not citrus. As you've just seen, I've just done the boring crumble, and that's now in the fridge, chilling, so it's easy to crumble. And I'm onto the fruit now, for the actual, the filling, if you like. You know, to crumble, still call it filling, huh? Got apples here, got some dessert apples, British dessert apples. You can use any type of apple, but if it's not the bramble type, the traditional cooking type, just keep the skins on. I'm throwing in pears, forget what type of pears, not the small type pears, ones which are really ripe on purchase. That's what they look like. They all look the same, but just slightly different. These are like the middle size you can buy in your average supermarket. Probably throwing about 3 of them. Again, not really for baking fresh pears, but again, keep the skins on so it doesn't completely break down. And just to throw in for the sweetness, if it's needed as all, got some canned blackcurrants because they're just so expensive fresh. Just ensure that you drain out the syrup. Keep the syrup for toppings. Just make sure you keep it in the fridge. Treat it as fresh food. So apples, just generally, like here, which is the casserole which I'm going to use. Apples break down into individual pieces about that size. So, cutting, got the apple, halve it, quarter, then do the quarter into 8ths and 16ths. Allow yourself plenty of time for this. And when you've got it down into 16ths, just take out any bits and then slice diagonally into about that size, as I say. Chuck in the pot. You can traditionally record, get your potato peeler, it tends to double up as a corer. Take out the core, so it cuts out the end man where you've got to take out the odd bit, like I showed you. If you're going to take a break at all, make sure that whatever fresh is in here is covered with water. Ensure it is. Once you hit that stage, anything can, then you may as well just complete it. Anything can till the end. But as I say, if you're going to take a break, make sure anything fresh is covered with water, otherwise you'll regret it. It'll go brown and you just won't want to cook it. Alright. Hello. Hope I've just popped through the mail. Whilst I'm here, D.i.y, The Rise of the Penis. New one's in the cinema soon, and I want to go and see it because it's in 3D. So I thought, whilst in Rome, it should be good. There's a commentary by the director and producer, a making of, and or a documentary on the visual effects and the design of the film. Not seen it. I've only seen, as far as contemporary films go, the Transformers. As contemporary then as I get would be, before Transformers, it would be, I saw Dread 3D, there's a review of that on my channel. And before that, I can't remember, it would have been Avatar. The Green Hornet and Avatar. So I saw Scream 4 in between all that. But, yeah. Anyway, so I'm not a big movie fan. But I want to go see the new d.i.y because it's in 3D. Because I come from a time where 2D only, mainly. So 3D to me is quite novel. And I like it. I like it in the cinema. It's quite novel. It's different than what I'm used to personally. But anyway, get back to this. I'll watch this later. I've just got it from the mailbox now. It's just arrived. d.i.y, The Rise of the Pianist. Tell me, please, what you think of it. Okay. Okay, now moving on to the pears. As I say, always make sure you give yourself enough time to do this. Whenever you're dealing with knives, especially big knives in your house, always ensure you give yourself plenty of time, that you're on your own, that you're not listening to loud music, you're not watching telly with one eye. Reason why I say to slice them down diagonally is so not just to slice them in half and halves. The reason why I make sure to say that shape, yeah, specifically that shape, is so when you come to flatten it down to layer your fruit, it flattens kind of vertical rather than all like that. Horizontal, sorry, in a horizontal flat. So you can flatten it. So coming to lay your fruit, it's pretty easy, and especially it matters the top layer. So when you sprinkle your crumble over it, it doesn't all fall in and out and go through the fruit, and you'd end up with patchy crumble. So ultimately, when you come to put your crumble on, you get a nice even spread of crumble, so the crumble's not patchy. That's basically why it's quite specific that you slice these down, and not too small either, because then they'll break down too much in the cooking process. Fruit breaks down anyway, a terrible amount when you bake it. It goes to mush if you bake it too long. Especially, that's why I say, if they're not specifically cooking apples to keep the skin on, it's to help retain them, to save them breaking down too much. Again, when I move on to the pears, that's what I say, the rule applies the same with the pears. They're supposed to only be lightly grilled, and when you fry them, you can fry your pears. It's like a posh starter for a meal. A few minutes. You tend to cook pears for max, otherwise, because they're a fresh fruit, they break down otherwise. So when I say the same rule applies to your pears when you're baking them. Keep the skins on, don't cut them too much. otherwise they'll break down to goo when you bring it out of the oven. It's got to be just right. You've got to do it just right. This. It's a very simple doing crumbles and pies. It's very simple. But it's also very simple to mess it up. It's taken me years. Practice over the years. I pick my own berries. Late summer, early autumn. Pick what I can, but specifically I go every autumn, early autumn, to pick my blackberries. Anyway, I don't like to core the fruit because I think you waste too much of it, yeah? That's why I didn't core the apples. So I want to try and get these as level and flat as possible to create a level playing field in the dish, but also without cutting them, slicing them too finely so they don't break down into mush. But, I mean, as long as you keep the skins on, you can still get away with slicing your pears quite fine, but no more really than that. In preparation to baking, if your oven isn't fit with an alarm, try and find yourself an alarm clock. Open my can of blackcurrants. Anyway, whatever fruit, if you use it from a can, unless it's specially prepared canned fruit, drain off its fluid. You'll find it's syrup, mainly. As I said earlier, you can use it at your own leisure, but just treat it as fresh food, keep it in the fridge. Be careful if it's blackcurrant because the juice will stain. Terrible, just like wine. See, it's dripping now. Be careful, it doesn't drip on your clothes. No blackcurrants there. Oh, they are. Show the camera. The hole. Ensure you get most of it out. You want as least moisture in the crumble as possible, but not too dry at the same time. As I say, it's got to be done just right, really. Depending on who's eating it, really. That's it, ultimately, depending on who's eating it. Okay, sit that for a little while. Let that drain. Once you've flattened down the previous layer, before the berries, in this case will be the pears, I've sliced the pears down. You'll work this according to what you put in your own. Alright, but this is just a basic recipe. So flatten the previous layer down. I've drained my berries off accordingly, and I'm just going to put them evenly over the top. This is to add colour to the bowl, to the serving bowl, and it's going to add colour to your bowl. It's going to add sweetness to it, natural sweetness to it. It's going to add slightly the moisture which is needed in case you run out of custard or you run out of cream or whatever and you still need to eat it. You can still eat it on its own, blah 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 blah. See, it's colour mainly, basically. because you find a lot of sweetnesses in the crumble. To give it colour mainly, but it's for, as I say, it's easily to get wrong. It's easy to get wrong. Right, okay, now the crumble which I put in the fridge to chill, so it's easy to crumble over, easy to sprinkle over. Get that from your fridge, put that in your fridge whilst you were doing that. You've covered it with cling film, right, to keep it fresh. And it's chilled, so it's easy to sprinkle. Get your spoon, just loosen it up again. Finally sprinkle over whatever you've put in your roasting dish, your baking dish. Now you can make this as tricky or as easy as pie. It depends on you and your confidence when you're doing it. As I say, you've done your best to get a flat on your fruit so it's not going to fall through. So it's up to you how you do this. Just go for it. Just go for it. It's my advice. Just go for it. Just go for it. Just throw it all on. Say it's personal taste as to how thick you do this. You can move it around once you've got a thick layer on the top, a thick mound on the top. You can actually move it down to the edges so it doesn't all fall on the floor. The more practice you get at doing this, the easier it will become. Don't go shaking your bowl because it will all fall through your fruit. Don't laugh, my camera completely died again. I've just had to charge it up for half an hour. Right. I was waiting for my oven to heat up anyway. At a temperature of 180 degrees. Preheat the oven at. You'll find averagely on a size filling of this, work at about 45 minutes, middle to top half of the oven, again 180 degrees, and work around that detail basically. You'll find that when you bring it out of the oven, it would have sank a little, especially in the middle. That's generally because fresh fruit would break down a little bit, will break down a little bit as it loses its moisture, but it'll only sink a tiny bit, so it's fine building it right to the top before it goes in. It's fine mounted there, it's fine, because you'll find it'll be basically level when it comes out. You shouldn't lose any more than half a centimetre in height from the top, so it's not going to go flat like a pancake, you know, it's just not. So as I say, 180 degrees, 45 to 50 minutes, centre of the oven to top half, and I'll show you when it comes out. 50 minutes is up. I haven't seen it yet, so here goes. Just bear with me. There you go. See the way it's all golden brown in colour? Told you it would sink, didn't I? So it was level, the top would be level. It's lost about half a centimetre. It's about half an inch. No, it's about a third of an inch. Half a centimetre, the top would. So it'd be level. I said just that, didn't I? And if you have the lid, which tends to come with these type of bowls, let it cool down naturally, and Put the lid on it. When it's in your fridge, so it kind of like retains its moisture, but treat it as fresh food. It is fresh food. Eat it within 3 days, and yeah, just keep putting that on and off overnight, so it doesn't lose its moisture for the next morning. And finally, I'll dish it out for you. Get a big spoon like that. Has to be big, as long as it's big. Okay, like that, similar to that. I like using that. And just on the old knife, butter knife as well, helps get it out. Just a little note, just make sure that whatever you cover it with to retain its moisture overnight is not airtight. Okay? Just make sure, ensure it's not airtight. It'll help with the preservation of it. Regards to it not going off, in regards to bacteria accumulation, it has to be able to breathe. It has to be able to breathe. Otherwise it may go off quicker. You find, just again, it's back confidence, yeah? If you can, wait for it to cool down. It'll slice easier. This is the next day, so it's spent a night in the fridge already. So again, it's about confidence. Okay, all about confidence. Just go for it. Again, go for it. Don't worry about it. See, it doesn't collapse. It won't collapse, especially when it's cooled down. Just take any bits of fruit which were left in the bottom to complete the serving. Yeah. You can heat that up individually, but keep that at reduced temperature in the fridge. Don't heat this up on and off. Heat up your serving. Again, making sure it's covered overnight, not airtight, and that should do it. Serve with either custard or a condensed milk. You know, whatever is your fancy. It's down to your preference. Whatever you put in as a filling, whatever you serve it with, you can either eat it hot or cold, and it's wonderful, but I'm warning you, it's full of calories. Yeah. It's that stuff, part of the crumble mix. It's the light brown soft sugar, which is part of the crumble mix, which is the most calorific of all ingredients. Whether you use brown or white sugar, at the end of the day, it's that stuff which will put the weight on you, I'm afraid. But yeah, as I say, let me know if you do it, how you, what you think of it, and how you got on with it. Alright, I look forward to seeing you soon.